part one. We're going to take a deeper look at who we really are, what we came here to be, being our authentic self, no matter what. I always have to put that in any affirmation or anything else I have, no matter what. We are important, we count. And today we will begin looking at the intrinsic qualities of being the authentic self. And before we can look at the specific qualities, let's explore the idea of the authentic self first. There's a beautiful statement by poet T.S. Eliot, one of my favorite quotes by him. The end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. That's what this journey of life really is. We come in our authentic self. Even before we incarnated, we were that self. And now, the journey of life, we return to the beauty and innocence and glory of who we really are. And that's what we're going to talk about for 3 weeks. And you've probably heard this before, and it was pretty good, pretty profound, but have we ever really applied it into our lives? This is a cycle. Life is cycles, and this is the big cycle I'm talking about. There is a profound wisdom in just that one sentence. Profound. And this one. The end of all my exploring will be to arrive where I said that already. But that's what the big quote is, and recognize it for the first time. And I love these words by Meister Eckhart. He's a German mystic from the late 1200s. Spiritual life is not a process of addition, but rather of subtraction. The answer is simpler than you might think, because we are truly moving into, I believe, as we do our spiritual work, and remember to do it no matter what, when things look so awful and the end of the world and all these other things that we go down rabbit holes with, that there is an authentic self that is alive within each and every one of us. And we need to remember that and connect with that in those times and in all times that we can remember. When we are consciously living from this authentic self, there are 7 intrinsic qualities that will naturally bubble up. And the masks that we wear in life will naturally fall. Today we begin looking at the 7 intrinsic qualities of the authentic self, so that we can open our eyes to who we are and what we came here to be, to express, to do. So let's begin the exploration that will return us to where we started, so that we can know it truly for the first time. And the first quality is wholeness. It will always be wholeness. In his book, which a lot of my talk is based on, Defining Moments, becoming who you were born to be. This is New Thought author Dennis Merritt Jones. And he wrote this: one of the first telltale signs that you are living from your authentic self comes in those unmistakable moments when we feel a sense of effortless connection with everyone and everything, with the whole. This is when we discover that true wholeness is a state of being not a condition or a point at which one day we will arrive when all things are perfect, because that will never be the case. Not in this human experience, he writes. When we live fully anchored in the awareness of our unity with the whole, authenticity is revealed. Something real emerges from us, and all sense of separation dissolves. And that's what we are here to do, to continuously work on knowing that there is a one consciousness. We're all having these human experiences, and we all look so separate, but in capital R reality, divine reality, there is only one consciousness, and we are it. All of us. All of life. All of the cosmos. All of everything is part of this one consciousness. And this, of course, is a fundamental teaching that we, in our New Thought world, we teach this constantly, that there is only one, but to practice it, to bring it into everyday life. That is our mission. Ernest Holmes, founder of Science of Mind, wrote this in his book. Life is one perfect wholeness. The universe is a unit. God is one. It is impossible for us to feel lost and in want. This is why Jesus said he could do nothing of himself, but could work only as the currents of divinity ran through his personal mentality. That subtle something which runs through all things and which we call the thing itself, that energy without which nothing can be energized, that life without which nothing can live, that power without which nothing can move, and that spirit without which nothing can be, is God. That's what we call God, or the one, the infinite love of all that is. It is only, he continues, as we live in conscious union with the Spirit and consistently let it work through us that we really live. We must always remember this power is for us. It is us. Not only is it for us, it's who we truly are. And we will find that out as we shed these bodies, which we all will. We'll find that out because we're eternal beings of light. Once Babaji, the Indian guru, was asked, "Are you God?" God is everywhere. I am local. Yes, God is everywhere. And each one of us is God localized. And that's the truth. We're all God. Let's get that straight. We're all God. We're not separate. We are. We forget this very important principle. From The Sacred Yes by Reverend Deborah Johnson comes this beautiful on-point poem. Now, this is from God to you, okay? God is speaking to you. You are me. I am you. I live in you and you live in me. Understand what I just said. You live in me. You move in my world. You speak with my voice. You think with my mind. You love with my heart. You act with my creativity. There is no separation here. When you say yes to me. Say yes to us. Say yes to our oneness. If only you would start from this point. We are one. This is true. So our awareness of our relationship to the whole, that's the starting point for us to live our lives in integrity, one of my favorite words actually, and to know our authentic self, which is changeless, is within us at all times. So that's who we really and truly are. When we begin to recognize our oneness with the one, some of the masks that we've had in place must fall away. These are some of the masks that you might find or recognize. The mask of shame, which comes from the mistaken belief that we are somehow flawed and not enough. The mask of lack, which comes from the mistaken belief that there is not enough of whatever we need to feel complete. The mask of perfectionism, which comes from the mistaken belief that when we finally control everything and everyone else's opinion of us and garner their approval, then and only then will we be complete. That's a lot of work to do. Boy, people spend their whole life doing that work. That's a lot of work to do. We don't have to do that. It's an illusion, it's not real. We think it is, but it's not. To live in the awareness and presence of our authentic selves is to remember that we are whole, therefore we are complete. Just the way we are, warts and wrinkles. Hard to remember sometimes when I get that wrinkle cream out. True. So, I'd like you to repeat this after me. I am whole and complete just the way I am.
I am whole and complete just the way I am.
And so that is, yes. So more on that idea in a little bit, but for now, intrinsic quality number 2, which is having a reverence that any person or living thing is recognizing the presence of the life within it, within that form, and honoring it as sacred. That's why a lot of people have trouble killing bugs, you know? It's because they have a sacred spirit within them. I personally have made a deal with them. My house, it's a 50-50 chance. You're gonna make it. But if you're outside, I'm not gonna bother you, you know? But I know people, you know, can't kill those. Well, I won't kill a spider. Okay. But, you know, boundaries, even with the insects. But here, we're having a reverence for all of it. It's all life. It's all life. Ernest Holmes tells us, and this is an old Science of Mind magazine, if we can bind ourselves together reverently in love and compassion, in mutual tolerance and understanding under the cohesive powers of the universal law of good and the beneficence of a divine and perfect presence, universal presence, then we shall lead the world down the pathway of a new enlightenment. It might seem like we're not doing anything, and a lot going on, a lot of fear peddling going on too in our culture. And we can't ignore it. I mean, it's happening. But our job is to remember that one can make the biggest difference, that we work on and through ourselves and recognize that what we do is so important. How we carry ourselves on this planet at this time is very, very important. It's not for the weak of heart. It is not. So in his book, Defining Moments, again, Dennis Merritt Jones writes, reverence awakens us to the deep understanding that to do harm to another is to do harm to ourselves. When I just say that, I think I have to stop myself now. This week I've been practicing, I gotta get better, of not getting sucked into the news that's on my phone. So I don't watch it on TV, but it seeps. You ever notice that? It seeps its way into your life. I mean, it just does. But when that happens, I harm myself. And what good am I to me and to everyone else? I'm of no use. So we try very hard not to succumb to that fear and keep reminding ourselves, these are all conditions. We live in a conditional world. We are divine beings of a powerful light, a powerful consciousness, and that is the absolute truth. Let me go back to him. Realizing that all living things are one with the great whole, we are naturally led to treat each person or thing as we would desire to be treated. It's been told that instead of flowers, Ernest Holmes would sometimes dine with a vase of weeds on his dining room table. He considered it a reminder that the creative intelligence of the one flows equally through living things, and that the only difference between a weed and a rose is the value, judgment, we choose to place on it. And that also was from Dennis Merritt Jones, but I thought that was really, really great. I remember when I first moved to New Jersey, I was driving, because I didn't drive in New York. So I'm driving down the road, and I think I'm in the country, right? And I see beautiful yellow flowers. So I stop and I pick them all, and you know, they were in a field, and I'm gonna put them in a vase in my house. I got nice flowers. I'm in the country. It was weeds. It was hay. With the hay stuff. What is that? Yeah. As you know, we all sneezed for a couple of days, but I didn't know the difference. They were pretty yellow and they were alive. So to me, I put them in water, and they look beautiful. So I love those weeds. So here we go. Two masks that conceal the intrinsic quality of reverence that naturally fall away. We have masks with all of these qualities. When we live intentionally from this quality are the mask of the judge. Boy, do we love to judge. The mask of the judge, right? Worn by the one who labels everything and everyone on external appearance only. The mask of selfishness, worn by one who mindlessly takes from others and life in general, using everyone and everything, including Earth's resources, with no thought of giving back. Of course, there are many others, but it's the fearlessness and courage that we have to remove them and face life with reverence, to remember who we are, to ground ourselves, to stay aligned with the fact that we can be giving acts of kindness, just loving and just being one with all of it, even if it's for a second, to remind ourselves so that we realign ourselves with that authentic self. So the final quality that I'm going to speak of today is fearlessness. The Bhagavad Gita, the ancient Hindu text, says, "Fear not what is not real. Never was, never will be. What is real always was and cannot be destroyed." That is your authentic self. Everything else it feels real, but it always passes. It always passes. Saying that fearlessness is an intrinsic quality of the authentic self does not deny that fear can be a very real experience. So we have to honor that. You know, we're human beings, so we have to honor that. We don't deny the fear. It is, as I said, a human experience, but it's not an experience of our authentic selves. There is no fear there. We are afraid we might lose love, health, money, reputation, beauty. The list goes on and on. The authentic self has no concept of fear. because it has no concept of loss, only the wholeness of being in the present moment. It's our divine self. It's another way of saying our authentic self is our own divine self. And fear is probably the most universally worn mask because our attachment to loss has so many tentacles. And that's really true. The mask look for fear that disguise our authentic self can look like this. Anger, which is the fear of losing control over something or someone else's behavior or actions. Jealousy, which is the fear of losing someone's love. Envy, which is the fear that we are not enough. And we know that we are more than enough. We are so enough. And then we have worry. And that's based on future loss. So when I go there, I try to bring myself back. I do bring myself back to the now moment. So in this now moment, everything is fine. Everything is good. All my needs are met. I'm not going into the future because I don't know what the future holds. I only know what I can do and be in this now moment. If any of these masks that I just spoke of fit, ask yourself, what is holding them in place? If you examine them closely, you will discover that it might have something to do with your mind being in some space in time other than this sacred moment. It usually is in the future, or sometimes it's in the past. And this sacred now moment is the only moment that is. To develop this intrinsic quality, I invite you to take on a little challenge. Do at least one thing each year that you are afraid to do. We can all do that. Do one thing each year, not each week, but each year. I don't care how big or little it is. That we kind of thought, oh, I can't do that. I have no way I can do this. Do it. See what happens. See what happens. The practice to be here and now, it really is a practice. And the breath will always bring us back to center. Always. So I have a song that I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to sing it. You've heard this song, most of you, in the spiritual communities for many, 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 many years. So many years. But I am going to read it. So you can close your eyes if you want to take it in, because it's about us. And this is called I Love Myself by Jai Josephs. So I'm going to read it to you. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage and tears, I see a shiny star. And I love you just the way you are. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, I'll help it grow by loving everything. And I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am. Breathe that in and take that with you on this beautiful day and live your best life ever on this day, in this moment. That's so good.
So it is.